Yeah.
It's honestly incredible to watch. Win or lose in this series, I think he stamped himself as one of the best basketball players we've ever seen. So I
Yeah.
mean, I guess you can take the mic now. Do you think I'm crazy? Do you think I'm flying off the handle too much? Do you think that Giannis is the best player? Am I ranking him too high? Am I drinking the Kool-Aid? Am I a prisoner of the moment, or is there some validity to what I'm saying?
I struggle with this because I think that Giannis is a toe away from not being in this conversation at all.
Let me put you on game.
You alluded to earlier. Let's talk about Giannis. Giannis, I think, has been incredible. I think he's the most reliable 35 points in the league. Um, he has this ability to hit free throws when they count. You saw it in this game where he was like, plus 90% from the line on like more than 15 attempts. Um, he's averaging 35, 14, and 7 for the series. We're seeing him make some of the smartest basketball plays on offense and defense that we've ever seen him make. He's thinking the game out there. He's a nightmare on both ends. He's functionally unstoppable at this point. You can't stop him from getting to the basket. I think he's scoring 21 points a game in the paint. And I think that's crazy when you consider that most of the time he's not standing in the paint. Most of the time he's going from the perimeter to the paint. So
Yeah.
the fact that he's averaging that much when he has to initiate offense from an entirely different area of the floor is incredible. Um, yeah, I think we need to have a conversation about Giannis. I think, in my opinion, I think right now the best player in the league changes constantly because of the level and the depth of talent in the NBA right now. But I don't think that there's a single person on the planet that is better at basketball than Giannis Antetokounmpo right now. I think he's the best player in the league at the moment. I think he's a generational talent. I think he's in the conversation for top 15 all time.
Mm.
I might even hear top 10 if you're talking crazy. I think he's just that good at this point.
Yeah.
It's honestly incredible to watch. Win or lose in this series, I think he stamped himself as one of the best basketball players we've ever seen. So I
Yeah.
mean, I guess you can take the mic now. Do you think I'm crazy? Do you think I'm flying off the handle too much? Do you think that Giannis is the best player? Am I ranking him too high? Am I drinking the Kool-Aid? Am I a prisoner of the moment, or is there some validity to what I'm saying?
I struggle with this because I think that Giannis is a toe away from not being in this conversation at all. I think that if
You
had
talking about last year?
I'm talking about last year, it's like as crazy as it sounds, Giannis is in this position because Durant missed that game-winning three. And it just shows you
That's a curious take.
how quickly things can change. I agree that he is the best player in the league, but he would not have been in a position to show that if Durant had made that shot. And that's what's interesting about all of this to me. At the end of the day, it's who is there and who's available to perform at their best and at their highest level. And had he not won an NBA championship, we would have been like, yo, I think Giannis is like, one of the best, but he can't make that shot. He got to develop that three. But after making the championship and after winning, they're like, yo, you don't need to make threes to make a championship. You already won. You already did it. Game 6 in a closeout game. He showed everybody that he is the best. And when you win finals MVP, have won back-to-back MVPs, have won a defensive player of the year, do it on both ends of the floor, and take a roster that otherwise might not be able to do what they're doing without you, and takes your grit and takes your cues, even though technically speaking, they're not the most skilled or finesse team, they're still able to crush their foes and they're still able to win out very close and competitive games because of his effort, because of his skill at just being a force. I mean, like a point center that's averaging 13.6 rebounds in this playoffs, 30 points per game in the last 2 playoffs, off of 50% plus shooting from the field and 6 to 5, about 6 assists in both years. Like, he's incredible. So I agree that he is the best player in the league, but I think that the margin for that is so close, and the conversation behind that is it could have easily have gone a slightly different way. If the Nets make it to the finals last year and the Suns beat them, we might be talking about Booker being one of the best players in the league, or being the best and the top dog, and Giannis being right there. But right now, Giannis is.
I was with you. I think that's a reach too far. I think Booker's a top tier player, but
that championship, that chip, it warps the mind. We talk about ring culture all the time, and it has me debating whether or not I'd rather have Charles Barkley's career or Draymond Green's career. And we've had that argument, and we've had that back and forth. So these championships really define guys and their place in our hearts. Ultimately, I think, though, again, Giannis is the best in the league. I don't know if we can start saying top 15. Maybe we can start moving him into that category, but it all depends on what we see tomorrow night, because that's really going to be a defining moment. That's going to say, is he in that Olajuwon category, or is Tatum going to reach into that, start putting his name into that ballot and into that conversation? I think Giannis's legacy is ultimately cemented, but it will be fascinating to see if it changes at any point, based on how they perform this Sunday.
Yeah, I think even with Olajuwon, I think his resume and Giannis's are similar at this point. He has one more chip. He has a defensive player of the year. So it's a little bit closer than I think we think about it. But yeah, like you said, Giannis at this point. I just think we're also projecting it with his career as well, because he's 27. So he literally has like probably at least 4 more years or so, barring injury, to perform at this level, especially because players' primes are longer now because of medical advancements. But yeah, just a 2-time MVP, Finals MVP, an NBA champion, a Defensive Player of the Year, 3-time All NBA Defensive First Team, 3-time All NBA First Team. Just overall, I think his resume at this point, at this age, I think we're kind of projecting like, I think Giannis at some point will end up in the top 10 NBA players of all time based on what he's already done. So it's like, and his performances as well. I think, how many people can claim that they have a 50-point, 16 rebound, I think 7 block game in an NBA Finals, So it's tough, but I think I just wanted to frame it that way because I think it's a conversation we need to start having. Because with Giannis, I think a lot of times people kind of get caught up with the whole James Harden thing, like, well, he ain't got no bag. But he's getting his way to 35 points, and it's not just dunks. It's mid-range turnarounds, it's mid-range jumpers, the occasional 3. It's him hitting his free throws. It's him being crafty around the rim. He's doing a lot of different things. And also on the other end, he's a beast. So I think we're looking at Giannis right now as, okay, he's a top 3 player in the league. That top 3, top 5 changes around all the time, depending on who's the flavor of the month. But I think I wanted to change the conversation from, not only is he top 3, he's the best in the league right now, but can we start talking about where he is all time? Because he's already top 75 all time. But can we start talking about him amongst, like you said, like the Hakeem Olajuwons, the Kobe Bryants, the players that are in that, top 15 somewhere, depending on how you feel, the Dirk Nowitzki's, like how do we start talking about him in that realm, in that area? Kevin Garnett, like, do we start talking about him like that as far as where his career is at? So I think that's an interesting conversation.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's marching full steam ahead towards that direction. And I, as much as the TNT guys get on him about taking outside shots, I think that I personally like to see him do that, because it is going to develop his game. And I love that he's willing to take those shots. He's going to age like fine wine if he continues to refine his outside shot. And I've seen him, do some, stick the ball on the floor, do some moves and take a shot. And that's going to actually keep him at his peak for much longer, especially if he can get somewhat reliant on those shots and become a really good outside shooter with a more well-rounded game. Because as you get older, it's a lot harder to bang in the paint. It's not going to be easy. And so him really taking advantage of those opportunities is going to ultimately behoove him. So shout outs to him and his offensive strategy and his willingness to really explore and to grow, because that's what you want to see in these top 10 guys. Their ability to either have won everything and have been the best of the best and just have, steamroll their whole competition at every point, or their ability to develop and change their game as their circumstances and their athletic abilities have declined.
Definitely, for sure.
Thanks for checking out this segment of the Put You On Game podcast, where we discuss everything from hoops to hi-hats.
Give us your thoughts on the video in the comment section, and you can also find the full podcast in the link in the description below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content.